Watch me upgrade a Jurassic Park like enclosure for an alligator snapping turtle. This species is the largest and most powerful freshwater turtle in the world. What's up everybody, Ed the Pond Professor here. I am in Aqualand, I am in our retail store. Actually, I'm standing directly above Woody's tank. Woody is our mascot. He is a monstrous, and I mean a monstrous alligator snapping turtle. He got a little bit bigger since we actually put him in here, but now we have the incredible task of renovating this tank. Trevor and I did it a couple of years ago, but Woody, because he's so powerful, he's just been pushing stuff around. So we had this existing wood structure, which was taking up a lot of space actually inside of the tank. So what we have is we have some old faux stones that we received from Stuart over at Universal Rock. We modified it a little bit, so Trevor and I already did that last week, and I will show you exactly what that looks like, but we modified that stone to actually create a underwater cave. But we need to make it alligator snapper proof, and I tell you what, this guy is a bulldozer. He crushes stuff. So what I did was I created a wooden frame that's going to be holding up this faux stone. Then what we're going to do later on today, once we pull Woody out, I'm going to come in with some of our concrete cloth to actually protect everything, to create a solid barrier for him to actually be safe inside, as well as it's going to be safer for the structure. Now, a few things that we have to deal with here today is a 100-pound alligator snapping turtle that has the jaws that would crush our arms. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some of our heavy-duty underlayment fabric. We're going to cut some handholds and slots into it exactly the way we did at the Move to Preserve project. So I use that same method for moving large boulders and things like that, but in this case, it's not only going to help us have more hands picking it up, but it's going to protect us from that big, powerful jaw. Once we encase him inside of that fabric, he's not going to be able to bite any of us. So what Trevor and I are going to do, we're going to try to remove some of the existing wood. We're going to get a pair of rubber boots. We're going to go down inside. We're going to try to wrangle him into this fabric sling system, lift him up out of there, and transfer him over to another team that's standing on the outside. Thankfully, Trevor, Brad, they came in a little bit earlier today. They drained a bunch of water out of the tank, put it into a temporary holding tank over here on the side. Now our next step is get inside, get a little bit dirty, be safe as always though, because we do not want to get in the way of that mouth. Alright, so it took a little time, but we got Woody out. And the reason he's not crazy heavy, but we have no room to pick him up and move him safely and then transfer him to a different team down below. If you were down in the bottom, like in the Move to Preserve project, where we were picking up, shuffling them along a horizontal plane, that's completely different. But taking them from here in a tight space like this, really, really dangerous. Lifting them up, getting the fabric under, we had to do it in 2 different times. Once we had him inside of it, it was actually very, very easy. We transferred him over to the tank. Now we just have to get a cover for the top of it. I don't feel like the water's high enough for him to actually escape. But the last thing we want to have happen is a 100-pound alligator snapping turtle wandering around our office during the middle of the day, because it could cause serious, serious problems. So do everything we can, make it safe. Trevor and I right now cleaning out all this stuff. You can see just behind this, the logs and everything we had. Actually, the water quality was really good in here, but it's just been trapped down inside of there. He has a high protein diet. So that means the nitrogen cycle is actually very, very stressed. So we have to make sure that we kind of do routine water changes with all of that. But I think we're going to be in a much better position once we get everything done in here with the new setup. And this water, that's what they normally would live in. I mean, that's where they're found, is those alligator snapping turtles. Quick history on Woody, our amazing mascot. Greg Wittstock, the pond guy, heard about Loggerhead Acres. This is a facility that was actually rescuing these amazing animals from the Louisiana market, where they're capturing these live animals from the swamps, and then they would sell them off to be butchered for snapping turtle meat. Loggerhead Acres actually was purchasing all these animals, bringing them back to their farm where they could live out their lives. Greg Wittstock found out about this. He wanted to assist. He made a special trip down to Loggerhead Acres where he purchased Woody so he could live out the rest of his life right here at Aqualand. Trevor and I made great progress. Got the whole thing drained, started just dismantling all that stuff that was inside. We cleaned everything out. Then what we did was we installed that cave that we built like 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago. It was a while ago when we did it. We did have to modify it a little bit, so we just had to trim a little bit more, and that was because it was too linear. When we laid it out, it was gonna be too straight going across. We wanted to kind of angle it a little bit. That also opened up a lot more open space in the center area for him for access. And again, they're a pretty secretive animal, so by having that little cave area for him, he could get back, he could chill, he could relax, be in the dark, but then he still has access to come on out whenever he wants to see people. He's actually a pretty good show off. He loves to go right in front of that window, which is really, really cool. The final steps that we have to do now, we have to lock the cave in place because, as I mentioned before, he is a bulldozer. He can destroy things. So we really got to lock everything in position. I've already placed one large boulder at the front end to keep tension or pressure going on the back, under compression going to the back. The other thing that we're doing is we're going to come in with some more of these driftwood elements that we had in the previous design. We're going to lock them in place. We'll screw them directly into the top of the cave. We'll also lock them into the above structure, which is going to keep Woody safe inside of the tank. Everything is finished inside Woody's tank, so the cave looks great. Trevor and I just kind of wrapped up and did some of the details, trying to lock everything in position. Because remember, this cave that we have is an old foam panel. So it's like a skin on the outside, but it has polyurethane foam to actually create the structure. That means it's buoyant. So what we had to do was we put the concrete cloth down in the bottom to add ballast. And then what we're also doing is we're coming in with some logs and things like that. We're locking everything down so we can keep compression on top of the cave. So the last thing I want to have happen is this thing to actually become buoyant and start to float up. If that happens, it'll be a nightmare, and then we got to rip everything apart. So we got a 110.
We got a 97. 108.
I'm going to say 103.5.
That's 102.
What is it at?
102.9.
Oh!
Almost down. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
No injuries.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Do you remember back in the movie Jurassic Park where they had the enclosure for the velociraptors? We had to replicate that entire structure right here to keep ourselves safe from Woody, the alligator snapping turtle.
Clever girl.
The structure is not only safety for him, but it's also for everybody that's coming in to take care of this amazing animal.
Hey guys, we are waiting for Woody's tank to clear up, and in the meantime, Ed has sent us out here to Lee's Bait and Tackle to get some common shiners, or otherwise known as minnows. So, you've seen the fillets in his tank? Well, today we're gonna get him some sushi. Let's go. we just got back from the bait store and this bass is tearing up these minnows. I don't know if Woody's gonna get a single one, and I don't know if Ed's gonna see them before they're all gone.
Couldn't be happier with the outcome of this amazing project. Doing something like this, an upgraded feature for Woody. This is Aquascape's mascot. Greg Whitstock, the pond guy, actually started the entire company because of his love of turtles. Built his very first pond in his own backyard for his pet turtles. So having Woody here as the mascot, so everybody that comes into our office, it is critical that this guy has the best enclosure possible, and this new upgrade is phenomenal. I've never seen an actual alligator snapping turtle smile, but if you really look into his eyes, I think he's pretty happy right now because he loves this enclosure. I could tell by the way he acts. He loves going in that little hidden cave. We've increased the water circulation patterns inside of here, and then Trevor did a phenomenal job because he went out, he picked up some of the native fishes, so some of the shiners and different types of minnows that these guys normally would eat. I know the bass, he was crushing them. I haven't actually seen the alligator snapping turtle feasting on these guys, but I know he's going to do it because he's designed and built specifically for that purpose. They open up that massive mouth, they have that little lure inside of there, so as soon as one of those fish comes in, he's gonna snap it shut and he's gonna devour anything and everything in its path. Having this upgrade is phenomenal. Everything looks great. Like I said, I couldn't be happier. Let me know how you feel about this project in the comments below.